Evening, everybody. How are we all doing? It's the midweek. It's Wednesday, the 11th of December, 2019. Had to get my bearings there. Oh, goodness me. I am absolutely tired. 3 nights in a row I have watched these Crisis episodes, like 1 o'clock in the morning over here in the UK. So I am absolutely shattered. Um, so forgive me for this review because I don't know how long it's going to take. So yeah, we're just going to dive in now. We're just going to dive right in. Goodness me, did this episode leave a cliffhanger and a half? But we'll get to that very soon. Let's just go through the motions of what happened. So the episode opened up pretty interestingly. Earth 203, New Gotham, Birds of Prey. If you guys are wondering who are these characters, well, you've got Huntress, that's Helena Wayne. She is the daughter of Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne of that Earth. Bruce and Selena eventually, hung up their cape, cowl and whip and cat goggles to go and live their lives, and they gave birth to a daughter, Helena Wayne, and she becomes the new Huntress of that Earth. You've also got Black Canary is there, her daughter, and also Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl / Oracle. You actually do hear Oracle's voice in the beginning of the episode because you've got Helena running on rooftops. The sky is red, so obviously this Earth is about to get destroyed, and we're hearing her and Oracle talking, and before we know it, they're gone. Okay, so that Earth 203 gone, done and dusted. And then we're back on the Waverider. Monitor and the team are looking for the remaining 3 Paragons. We don't know who the Paragons are. Well, the remaining 3 anyway. We know who the current 4 are. Superman of Earth 96, Batwoman, Supergirl, and Sarah Lance. Almost forgot there. So they are the 4 Paragons. So Supergirl's the Paragon of Hope, Batwoman's the Paragon of Courage, Sarah is the Paragon of Destiny, and I have just forgotten again. Oh my god, my mind, I'm getting old. I am getting old. Who was the 4th person? Who was it? Sorry, Superman of Earth 96, Paragon of Truth. There we go, got there. So there's 3 more to find, and Ray is still working on his machine. Along comes Iris West, Alan, Ralph Dibney, Cisco Ramon, and of course Killer Frost, aka Caitlin Snow, have arrived from Central City. Well, from the Earth, because they're on the Waverider, which is orbiting Earth 1 at the moment, or floating in space up of Earth 1. So they've arrived on the Waverider. Ray's happy to see Cisco, so they get working on the Paragon detector. Diggle eventually has found out about Oliver. He's not happy. So he's kicking off with Sarah. He's also kicking off with the Monitor. He's also not happy about the fact that Lila's gone missing as well, which I completely forgot to mention in last night's review of what was happening with Lila, because I did say in that review that she was hearing voices, and we find out why she was hearing voices right at the end. She got brought into the Anti-Monitor's realm, and he's basically going to use her against the Monitor and the team as well, and that's exactly what he does in this episode. But again, we'll get to that very soon. So anyway, so as I say, John's not happy with what's happened to both Lila and Oliver. Eventually, Diggle, Mia, and Constantine decide that because Oliver's soul is now in Purgatory, they need to go there. It's essentially Oliver's hell. They need to go to that hell in Purgatory to retrieve his soul back, but they can't do it through the conventional means because Constantine doesn't have his magical powers, given that he's, the antimatter wave has been causing a disruption to the positive matter universe. So where do they go? Earth 666, Los Angeles. I can't believe they even went to this area. Lucifer himself, Tom Ellis, was in this episode. I was just sat there, mouth agape, thinking, oh, they actually went there. They actually did it. They've crossed it. They've crossed over to Earth 666. Lucifer does exist in the multiverse, which I'm really glad about. It's great. I wasn't expecting it in any capacity, to be perfectly honest. But him and John Constantine, they know each other. They already know each other. And Lucifer is obviously aware that Constantine is of another Earth, because he even mentions it, nice to see mortals on my Earth, this, that, and the other. he's eyeing up Mia at the same time, flirting with John Diggle, as he does. We know what Lucifer's like, and John says it's time to pay up, or it looks like the deal was clearly done between John and Lucifer years ago or some time ago, and now Constantine is returning the Lucifer's returning the favor to Constantine. It's basically a card that allows them entry into Purgatory to retrieve Oliver, but they have to do it very quickly because it's a limited time. Because once the card actually has the devil on the card, once the devil disappears off the card, basically it's there's no way back. So they do go to Purgatory, which happens to be Lian. Come on, Purgatory. It's Mandarin. So that's where they find Oliver, but he could be Oliver's so far gone, he won't recognize any of them. So they have to basically convince him to remember who they are, which they eventually do, because they do find him. They get him. They win him round. Unfortunately, he doesn't leave with them, because a certain spectre arrives on the scene. Jim Corrigan comes out of nowhere and tells Oliver that he has a destiny, that he's got a higher purpose, some form of higher purpose, essentially. And Oliver doesn't leave Purgatory with Constantine, John, and Mia. So it's like, okay, is Oliver now going to become Spectre? Is this how he comes back into the fold for the rest of the crisis? Because don't forget, we've still got 2 episodes left in January. Is this how he returns? Be very interesting to see how that happens. So yeah, very interesting. I'm actually quite looking forward to it. Who knows what's going to happen? Anyway, back on Earth 1 on the Waverider, Cisco has a chat with the Monitor, and the Monitor gives him his Vibe powers back. Vibe is back, people. He is back, and there's a reason he is back. He has a purpose to fulfill. As the Monitor tells him, go serve your higher purpose, because you're needed. You want to talk back about the 3 Paragons that they're looking for. They eventually do find the 3 Paragons that they're looking for on the Paragon detector, and it's none other than, well, 2 of them they already know of. So you've got Barry Allen, the Flash, who is the Paragon of Love, Jean Johns, aka Martian Manhunter, who's the Paragon of Honor, and the final one is Ryan Choi, aka the New Atom, who is the Paragon of Humanity. And it's up to Ralph Dibny, Iris West Allen, and Ray Palmer to go and convince him to join the team. And he's in Ivy Town, which is where Ray Palmer was also a student of Ivy Town. So they basically try and convince him to join. Ryan is a bit, well, he's starstruck first because of Ray Palmer and what he does. Ralph shows him that he is a superhero. Ryan's like, oh, okay. Thinking, well, if the world's about to end, I'm going to go and spend it with my wife and child. Iris is then up to Iris to try and talk him into, joining them. He name drops his baby, his daughter, and if those of you who caught it, the baby's name is Simone, which is a nod to a certain Gail Simone. So there we go. I mean, I'm telling you, these episodes, these crossovers are just full of nods and homages and plenty of Easter eggs to filter through, people. Plenty of Easter eggs to find. Go and get them. But yeah, like I say, she convinces him, and she does it because of Barry. Barry had a chat with her earlier on the Waverider, and he basically said, look, it's up to you to convince him, and I know you can because you are the person that can do this. And it's just great to see that happen. So that was something. Moving further on, so Caitlin and Cisco, who's now got his vibe powers back, tracked down the entrance to what we now know to be the Anti-Monitor's realm, essentially. And it's got the 7 symbols of the Paragons, which that's what they are now. Because when I first saw that, I was like, I wonder what these symbols are. And they are, in essence, the Paragons themselves. As you can see, there's 7 symbols, and they are the Paragons. So Cisco has to vibe Pariah, because Pariah arrives to tell them how to open the door, and they go through. What they find is an antimatter device that's channeling antimatter energy, which is causing the Earths to be destroyed. And then they see what appears to be a cosmic treadmill, and this cosmic treadmill has somebody running on it, and it's none other than Barry Allen of Earth 90. Now, because if you remember from Elseworlds, he shouts at the Monitor, "You will not do to this Earth what you did to mine." As he runs towards him, the Monitor just, basically teleports him elsewhere. And however, where he teleported him to, the Anti-Monitor intervened, got him, and then brought him to his realm, where he is now running on the treadmill to power the antimatter device. And to test, to make sure that it was working, remember Earth 2 in the first episode of Arrow? That was a test. Earth 2 being destroyed was the test from the Anti-Monitor to see if the antimatter wave could destroy a universe or an Earth. And because it worked, he's continued onwards from there. Black Lightning joins the fray, because when I watched Black Lightning, I was like, when he got teleported away as his Earth was being destroyed, I'm thinking, oh, okay, so he's obviously going to join the Crisis, but in what capacity? Well, we find out in the capacity that he has joined. Pariah was the one that brought him to the antimatter sort of device to help them stabilize it, because they found out eventually they stopped Earth 90 Barry from running on the treadmill. However, him stopping has caused the antimatter device to start getting ruptured, and it's going to blow up, and it's going to basically destroy all the remaining Earths all at once. So it's like, okay, we've got to do something about this. Eventually, both Barrys figure out the way to, well, I say both Barrys. Barry of Earth 1 was the one who figured out how he could stop the antimatter device. And he said, "Oh, this is how I'm gonna. This is my destiny. This is how it's gonna end for me." However, Earth 90 Barry Allen has other ideas. He doesn't want Earth 1 Barry to sacrifice himself. No, he sacrifices himself. Well, his entire Earth is gone. What else does he have? And as he gets back on the treadmill, a heartwarming moment happens. First, they are playing the old Flash theme tune from the 90s, and then flashback to a moment that he's having with Tina McGee, where he says, "I've got faith in you, Tina." And she replies back, "Well, I've got faith in you as well." And it's just like, you just see it, you could feel that emotion. And then as it's happening, we see Earth 90 Flash just disappear. He's just decimated, basically, from running, from stopping the antimatter wave, which he does. He succeeds in doing that, but it was at a great cost. We do learn a bit more about the Anti-Monitor. We learn a bit more about the Monitor and his life. He's talking to Lois about his family and such. So that was quite an interesting, touching moment. Superman arrives, Superman of Earth 96, and I can't remember where he was going and what he had to do, but he didn't succeed. But Lois is asking him about the costume. No, he starts talking about his costume. Lois asking why did he put black on it in the background, and he said, because even in the darkest of times, hope is the light that lifts us out of darkness. I thought, wow, that's beautiful. That is just beautiful. Kate and Cora. So we're leaning towards some sort of world's finest partnership going on between these two, because so Kate Kara still wants to use the Book of Destiny to bring back Earth 38. She's even telling Lex this, and he's thinking, yeah, okay, good luck with that. Kate's not happy about that. She wants to get a bit more information out of Lex. She twists his arm. He's saying, look, the book will do whatever you want, but don't be overwhelmed, because if you're overwhelmed, then you're just going to lose the plot in that sense. Start small, do something small, but don't do something like try and save an Earth, because you're asking for trouble, basically. So Kate is kind of happy that Kara eventually decides not to use the book, but then Kate shows Kara the kryptonite, and she's like, oh, where did you get that from? She says, oh, it was Bruce's, because he didn't have hope, whereas I do. Kara says, well, then you keep it so that you don't have the courage to use it. Okay, and I was like, it just reminded me of Superman, Batman, The Search for Kryptonite. At the very end of that comic book, well, I'm not going to spoil it because I want you guys to read it. Go and find Superman, Batman, The Search for Kryptonite. It's one of my favourite stories of Superman and Batman working together. Search for Kryptonite, brilliant. Go get it, go read it, and you'll see what I mean. So that it's good that Kate's finally happy that Kara's not going to use the book, and also happy that she's keeping the kryptonite. So we'll see what happens there. Barry and Jefferson, aka Black Lightning, Barry Allen, Jefferson Pierce, they both have a chat about their respective dads. Barry's telling Jefferson about Henry, how Earth 90 Barry Allen looked just like his dad, and what happened to his dad in terms of being framed for the murder of his mother. That even through all of that, he was still humble. He was still a kind man, well respected and loved and caring. And Jefferson talks about his dad, Alvin. He was a reporter, and he was, even watching him die when he was 12, being murdered rather in front of his eyes. He still kept all the teachings and the lessons and the morals that he taught him throughout his life, that he's passing it on to his daughters as well. He's still obviously grieving from the fact that his Earth has gone, his wife has gone, his 2 girls have gone as well, and it's like, what do I do now? But it was really good to have that moment between them as well. So now we're coming towards the end of the episode. So everybody is now on the Waverider. Okay, Ryan Choi, Ralph Dibney, then Iris Sabak, along with Ray Palmer as well. So, and then Jefferson's on the Waverider. He sees 2 Supermen. He's like, oh, the Superman thing's real? Oh, okay, right. he clearly was very happy to see that. So there, everybody's on there now, and Pariah arrives, and then Harbinger arrives. Now remember, anytime Pariah enters somewhere, it's because he's going to watch some tragedy unfold. Harbinger's arrived after Pariah, so clearly something's going to happen here. And everybody's looking around. John and Lila are having a hug because John's happy to see her again. But then she was saying that she was telling John how I was supposed to have told her how I went to Earth 1 to do some recon, and one of the other heroes said, well, what were you doing on Earth 1? And then suddenly she's like, oh, I can't remember. And everybody's thinking, well, okay, that's interesting. But then Barry says to, I think he says to Ralph that the Anti-Monitor must have brought her here knowing that, he's controlling her and controlling Pariah, because you're meant to go to a place where tragedy is about to unfold. And what happens? He takes over. The Anti-Monitor takes over Harbinger's body and knocks out John, knocks out Superman of Earth 96, and then the Monitor is telling Pariah, it's now down to you to save the heroes. You've got to take over. He's like, what do I need to do? Monitor's like, you will know when the time comes. Monitor and Anti-Monitor, aka Harbinger, are duking it out. They are using their powers against each other. It's just like the comic book. It's just like the comic book. I was like, wow. But then something happened that I didn't expect, because we know the Monitor's name is Monar Vu, but we never knew what the Anti-Monitor's name was. It wasn't until the Dark Side War, okay, this is what, we're going back, what, about 4 years ago now, I think it was. The Dark Side War, where the Anti-Monitor faces off against Darkseid, all thanks to Darkseid's daughter, Grail, who was born on Themyscira, okay, so is essentially an Amazon as well. And it's like, you find out a bit more about the Anti-Monitor. You do in Crisis on Infinite Earths, but we find out who he truly is, what his name is as well, in Darkseid War. There's a character from Apocalypse, well, who's Apocalyptian, called Metron. And he sits on a chair. And this chair provides him with knowledge, like knowledge of all things, everything. And this chair actually belonged to someone. Now, I can't remember how Metron got it, whether or not he, took it or it was given to him, but this chair actually belonged to the Anti-Monitor, and the chair is known as the Mobius chair. The Anti-Monitor's name is Mobius. I was just like, oh my god, they went there. They actually said his name, and I was just thinking, yes, brilliant. It's like, oh my god, we went there. So yes, the Anti-Monitor's name is Mobius. The Mobius chair that Metron sits on, that belongs to him. Okay, that was Mobius's chair, essentially. That's why it's called the Mobius chair. Batman sat in it for a brief time. Okay, think of that what you will. 3 Jokers. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean, I was just like, wow, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But that's not where it ends. Eventually, Anti-Monitor kills Monitor and takes his energy. Pariah then realizes what he needs to do. He saves the Paragons. Okay, so everybody else, bar the Paragons, are saved. They're transported elsewhere. We don't know where just yet. But then the Anti-Monitor gets the antimatter wave back in play, destroys Earth 1, and the remaining heroes are basically saying, after Pariah gets rid of the Paragons, transports the Paragons to safety, the Anti-Monitor asks Pariah, where did you send them? He said, nowhere where you can find them. And everybody else is saying, they will take you down, whatever it takes, by any means necessary, as Jefferson says, until their last breath and all that sort of stuff. And they then disappear. You see Superman of Earth 38 nod at Iris as they're disappearing, as they're being destroyed, and we then go to the Paragons. They're on Vanishing Point. You remember season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow, Rip Hunter, time travel, Vanishing Point, the Time Masters, boom. So this is where they're going to mount their plan, clearly. But then something happens. Superman suddenly is in pain. It's like his body is rupturing and he falls on the floor. He's glowing red. And then next thing you know, he's gone, but Lex Luthor's in his place. And I'm thinking, what? Didn't we just see Lex back on the Waverider, still locked up? How did this happen? And we find out how. He took a page from the Book of Destiny, put his name above the symbol of the Paragon of Truth, which was Superman's. So he is now part of the Paragons. And it's like, okay, where do we go from here? And that is just how it ends. And I'm just like, oh, wow. And then we see a preview for the next episode, which is not until January. And They're fighting the Anti-Monitor, the Paragons. They're on some sort of, I don't know, I want to call it, well, some sort of quarry, as it were, taking, fighting the Anti-Monitor, and the odds don't look too good for them, is all I'm going to say. So it'll be very interesting to see how it all pans out when the show returns. So we'll kick off with, so it'll be Arrow, episode 8, and then DC's Legends of Tomorrow, episode 1. So that's on the 14th of January, 2020. Goodness me, I can't believe it's going to be 2020 soon. What's going on? Goodness me. So yeah, again, as I say, I don't know how long this video has been going. I think nearly half an hour. So once again, kudos to you if you have been sitting here watching this, because goodness me. Can you tell I've missed doing this? I think I've missed doing this, haven't I? 3 reviews on the bounce. I can't remember the last time I did that, if I'm going to be totally honest. When was the last time I did 3 reviews back to back to back? I can't remember. So it was clearly a long time ago. Goodness me. But yeah, so we are, 14th of January can't come soon enough, people. So be very interested to see. Let me know what you think of it, if you know what your thoughts were and stuff. And wow, as I say, I've enjoyed it. I'm watching them again this weekend because the missus hasn't watched it, so she'll be joining me this weekend. We'll be watching all 3 of them, one after the other. I'm going to look forward to watching them all again. And then when the last 2 come out, I think I'm just going to spend a weekend where I'm just going to watch all 5 of them, one after the other, and just be like watching a 5-hour movie, basically. That's essentially what it is. It's a 5-hour movie, isn't it? Of all these episodes put together. Oh, goodness me. I hope they release a Blu-ray just for those episodes. Just those episodes contained in one sort of Blu-ray. Whatever they do, I hope they do that. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. Thank you all very much for watching. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your Christmas. Still look out for my nostalgic reviews, which I will still be posting every Monday up until the end of Crisis, 14th of January. Yeah, so 14th of January is a Tuesday, I believe, and let's see, yeah, so it's a Tuesday. So my last nostalgic review, will be on the 13th of January. So there, enjoy. See you all very soon. Bye.